Hey, Ravensmaw here. I wanted to show you something pretty cool in Quoth that we worked on over the last month or so. But let me give some context. So, look, we know a lot of GMs are perfectly happy not using devices at the table. In fact, some GMs are like, no devices at the table. But for a lot of us, our laptop or our tablet has become our second GM screen. So that's where Quoth fits in. The goal with Quoth is to give you a smooth and easy experience, not only preparing your game session, but also finding all the information you need while you're actually playing. And that's where the custom tables come in. Look, there's no way that Quoth can replace your rulebook, whatever that happens to be. It might be a game that you've created yourself, or one that's already online, or has got some huge apparatus on there, or maybe it's just a monster PDF that you need to look things up in. So that's not the intention behind Quoth. We know you're going to have to go and find that book when you need some obscure rule that you don't have committed to memory, but sometimes there are some things that are the usual suspects, tables or conditions or weather or random encounters or just tracking initiative, things like that, that you might actually want to have at your fingertips anytime you need it so that you can use it. And that's the idea behind the GM screen tabs in the session. So that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to show you how in a session you can create a custom table, and that table will stay forever. So once you build it, it's there forever. You can hide it, put it away, whatever you want to do. But by building it, it becomes a tool that keeps you from necessarily having to go find that page in the 165-page Game Master's Manual, wherever that might be. All right, let's get to it. Okay, here we are. This is actually in my my sample campaign, my campaign that I'm working on for. I got a couple friends. We're going to try to run some one-shots. You can see I can remove this sidebar. I'm going to go ahead and remove the sidebar for now because it's just a navigation thing. You can go in there and go various places anyway. But I'm in a session, which is right here, the prayer that looks below, and I'm going to make that go away. All right, so we are here on this session screen. This is where like game session headquarters, where you run the whole thing from. And I've got a couple scenes in here, not very many. I have this one scene that I've already got fully prepared. I've got, images I can throw in there and things like that. By the way, it pulls in all your maps. So any maps that you have loaded into your adventure or that you add here under your locations, it's going to pull those in. It pulls in your PCs, which I don't have any PCs in this campaign yet. It's got NPCs, which I have one, a Cape Bear. And it's got your open notes and that sort of thing. But I'm going to focus on tables. These two tabs are exactly the same, right? They work pretty much the same. But you click this button, add, and now you get the custom table creator. So, for example, you can create a tracker, a reference table, this would be like conditions or something like that, where you're just going to track, what happens when people are dazed or, whatever. You can do wide or skinny. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. And you can do roll tables. Roll tables are like your weather random roll tables. And no, there are no dice rollers in Quoth. That's by intention, because if you have plastic dice in front of you, like I have in my little bottle here, you should be rolling them at the table. If you're at a live table, this is the best thing, rolling dice. So why would you ever skip a chance to roll dice? Okay, I'm rambling. Let's do a tracker. All right, let's do a tracker. We're going to call this initiative. All right, I'm going to do a tracker. So let's do a initiative tracker. Okay, I'm going to make it skinny, not wide. It goes all the way across with wide, skinny, half column. All right, so we'll do skinny. We're going to do add a column. The first column we're going to add here is we're going to call this the roll, and I'm going to make this a preset column right here. And that's going to add this new section down here, which I'll explain in a second. I'm going to add another column. We're going to call this name. This is where you're going to put like the monster or your player and, next to whatever number they roll, right? And then I'm going to make that a text. And then I'm going to add one more column. I'm going to add done. So I can track who's finished each round. And this is just like I would have on my piece of paper in front of me. Instead, I'm going to be using Quoth as my sort of piece of paper to track initiative. All right, and that's actually going to be a checkbox. We'll make that a checkbox column there. And I could actually move that if I wanted to. I could put the checkbox on the left side. So that's actually not a bad idea. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to add roll. And here we're just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm going to stop here because it's getting old. All right. So we got 10 there. But you get the idea. So now I'm going to add to the GM screen. And boom, I have a custom table here. So now I have a checkbox. I have a place to put a name. Park Wind. We can do a goblin. We can do goblin chief. All right. Those are my 3, but let's say the goblin chief rolled a 10. I'll put it down there. And the goblin is here. All right. And that's good. Now, here's the cool part, right? So that is now entered. And here's the key. The information in the name column does not go with your table anywhere. So if I change to another session, it will just have my initiative blank there and I can fill it out how I want, which is kind of cool because when you come back to the session, say you want to, who went first in that round? I can't remember last night who was going first. You can always go back to that other session and see what the order of initiative was, which is kind of cool. All right. And then we're done. And here's a cool thing too. I just want to point this out. You can always go back and change it just by clicking the pencil. It's totally customizable. And you can also hide it because once you start adding all of these different tables, like a roll table, so say I wanted to do weather, and I wanted this to be a skinny, and roll for random weather effects. You could do chaos magic or whatever, right? And then we're going to call it weather. And now this is up to you. You could do D100 here, but you're going to have to, put them all in, right? This is your custom table. You can use whatever you want. And then you basically start adding rows. So like you can do a range here. So you could do like 1 to 5 on a percentile dice and have that be sunny skies. And then add another row and do 6 through 10 and have that be stormy, right? And you can do whatever you want here. And that's what it's going to look like. It just gives you the kind of live preview there, which is kind of cool. And I can keep going all the way up to 100. I'm going to add that to the GM screen, right? So now that's there. You can see my other table was hidden, but I can bring it back. And now it's sitting there again. I can make it go away whenever I don't need it. And then whenever you type in your roll, and have it, I can only die here. There we go. I rolled a 1. So I will put a 1 in there and 1. Sunny skies. If I rolled a 7, it's stormy. You can see it pops up there, which is kind of cool. It's just a really quick way of accessing your random tables. And you can create those other types of tables. My other favorite type of table is a combat table. It works basically the same way. You can track hit points, and you do that. I'm just going to go ahead and use my initiative tracker here. I'm going to, we'll get rid of the checkbox because it gets kind of squished if you do too many columns on a skinny. So you could do a wide if you wanted to. And I'm going to add another column here, and I'm actually going to call that a resource column. And we'll call this HP or health or whatever you want right there. And you can put in a max here, but don't, right? You don't want to put in a max here, and I'll show you why. So I'm going to save changes. And now suddenly, this is both an initiative and a hit point counter, right? It kind of would work better as wide. Let me do wide on that. So over here, I'm going to save changes. This saves across your entire world, by the way. Whenever you make these saves, it's going to appear like this on every other session that you create. So if you make it wide here, it's going to be wide everywhere, right? And so now I can go in here and I can type in 45 for my Goblin Chief. And now I'm tracking their hit points just like I would on a piece of paper, except I don't have to have a piece of paper. I can do it right here. And it keeps it, if you get stopped in the middle of a session, it'll always be up to date because it saves it. All right. that's pretty much it. Those are your custom columns. That's how you create them. You could always, oh, and you got, 2 whole tabs that you can stick these in. And again, you can hide these in text. And that's how you do it.